welcome to another Mr. Peter Bike video, and this one's a little bit different insofar as it's part 2 of Andy's HF950 repair. And you'll remember in part 1 I did a load of work which was potentially not actually required. Yeah, because the actual problem with it is the rail down the side here is cracked. And where it's cracked is right where it's holding down the loading mechanism for the top loading mechanism, for want of a better way to put it. So after part 1 I had a little rattle around and this came out, the end of the rail. Now you'll remember that when I was looking at the machine, there was a white streak across the back of the drum here, and that was from this rattling about in postage. And this has white like lithium grease on it, and it had gone past the drum and it had basically contaminated it. So yeah, so the heads might be quite interesting as well as we work through this. But yeah, we may well have some contamination because I just didn't see that when I was testing it. It's all the joys, and I suppose you could say it's quite honest, because I could have just not shown any of that and just said, oh yes, here it is, here's the problem, and blah blah blah. But it's actually quite nice to sort of work through a machine and sort of get it wrong, which is what I did. I got it wrong. Having said that, the work I've done, it needed to be done, and there was that problem with the clutch mechanism as well on the supply reel, so that was worth doing, and it's definitely made it a lot more reliable. And when you press this down, it's actually really fast. Rewinding, fast forward, everything's perfect. We know the motor's good. No wear there at all, really. It's a really nice reel table assembly, and we also know that the drum's good now as well, so that's perfect. So I don't mind doing that. I don't feel too bad, and maybe I'm trying to console myself. So in this video we're going to be trying to glue this back on. I do actually have a rail kit, but as you're probably aware, if you know anything about these machines, it is a massive job to change, because you literally have to change the whole of this center section here with the plastics and all the rest of it. I do actually have a rail kit. It's not new, but it's good, and from a very low hours machine that had all sorts of problems with it, unfortunately been badly stored, but the running was good. Now the first thing I need to do is actually eject this, and the other thing we'll be looking at in this video are the apparent logic problems that this is starting to exhibit. Now logic problems with this, with these machines, usually is down to bad buttons on the front. So basically the buttons start becoming leaky and you start getting all sorts of weird and wonderful functions happening, and even the open close button seems to be a bit leaky. So we'll have to look at that. I might end up having to change all the tact switches, which is a bit of a nightmare on these because it's double-sided prints, so you have to be a bit more careful as well, and you have to put quite a bit of heat in as well to really get them cleanly out. But we'll have a look at that. We'll see how we get on. So the first thing I'm going to do is this powered up, so I'm going to turn it on and just see if I can eject the sled. Right, so I can. That's fine. So let's power it off. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to actually take the sled out as far as it will go, so I can get to that plastic section. So before I can actually take out the sled, I have to disengage the loading motor the sled loading motor. You can see I've already taken out 2 screws, and this one you won't be able to see because it's behind everything. And I have to confess, I have slightly forgotten how this all comes apart. So, assembly first. And then lift the motor out, motor assembly. Just being careful nothing falls apart. And this actually plugs in up here, I seem to remember. So we'll take it right out. A bit of a wiggle. Oh, I forgot this bit. And lift it out, and we're good to go. So that's pretty much the unloaded position of it. There is a mode switch there of sorts. Tells the Syscon where the sled is, and then this bit just slides off. I don't think there's any washers from memory. It literally just comes off. There we go. So let's put this back down. Cables fouling everything. And let's pull out the drawer. Okay, so not the best camera angle, but we'll give this a go. So the first thing we need to do is release this catch, which is not easy, especially with the camera in the way. So there we go. And then need to release the catch on the other side to just take it out completely. So can I get it? There we go. I'll flick that out of the way and then the whole lot will come out. I'm going to pull that as far as I can go without straining the cabling too far. And yeah, we're good. So the deck's now completely out, or pretty much completely out. And if we just have a look at what is actually going on, you can see here the plastic is broken. See the rail here, and yeah, it goes something like that. Now there is a bit of plastic missing, but I don't think it's going to really matter too much. It's just going to make it a bit of a graty sort of load. But I just think if I can glue this back on, maybe araldite over the top of it as well, so the araldite sort of goes in these sections and onto the metal, just to give it some mechanical strength. I think that may well do the trick. It'll be enough to get it going, which is all we can really do, short of, like I say, replacing this rail complete. I do wonder about 3D printing one of these, you know, whether that might be an option. The amount of force that the basket actually puts on the plastic here is so much that I wonder if there is any sort of real option to to 3D print something that will be strong enough and reliable enough moving forward, but I'm sure it could be done. So yeah, that's something I'll look into, I think. So I've roughed up the metal assembly here and put some super glue on there, just a thin film. And then I've done the same on this. So roughed it up, cleaned off the grease. I used isopropyl to clean off the grease, and then put some super glue on it. And yeah, I suppose try and get this on, which could be quite a lot of fun without getting stuck to it myself and without causing problems. I probably am going to do something about that gap. I haven't quite decided what yet, but obviously it's not ideal to have that gap there. A couple of days have passed and basically I've sorted out the glue, glued that on and with super glue, and then I've used araldite to strengthen it up. And also there was a little gap here, so that is actually bridged with some araldite. What I did is I used some insulation tape to just make it so it's the araldite sits nice and flush. And it's not bad, it's not perfect, but it's not bad, and it'll be good enough, I hope, for the rail to do what it's supposed to do. So the next thing is to push this in. You can hear the clips just going in. Actually, we can just test it. Oh yeah, no, that's fine. It will sort of be a bit clunky over there, but I think we'll be alright, and it will improve with use. So he says famous last words. So anyway, let's put the loading motor back on and see how it goes. Putting this back together in the ready to eject position. I don't know whether necessarily that's the best way to do it, but we'll see. We'll play it by ear. So this arm goes on. There's a little bit of plastic that goes in to here, and then the actual main arm plastic goes round and locates into the loading drawer. And next is putting this in. Now you could argue you've got to time it, but it actually times itself, because this part here will land into this bit here. So you know you'll get it right, because that will locate into that little assembly. So, and it's a bit of a squeeze, but it does all fit. So that's located. That's it, that's good. I think I've probably already got that wrong, because that needs to go like so. So that screw goes in there. I think I do this every time, you know. I always forget to put this assembly on first, and that goes, there's a locating hole, then a screw hole, then this is a screw hole that goes onto there, like so. connectors. So there's one here, which you probably can't see, but it's a black connector there. So I believe that's for the little mode switch type thing. Technical term, that thing. And then the yellow one pretty much finds its own way. The yellow onto yellow there. Push the cable management round. And that's it, we're good. One thing that is a common, or becoming quite a common area of failure is the rudder at the end here. And I more than likely will do a video on repairing this, or it'll be in another video. I've got a few HF950s to actually repair, so I will address this in a future video, so keep an eye out for that. That'll be a fun one, I think. So yeah, let's put this back down. So clip at the back, and then screws in. Just 2 screws. 3 screws, in fact. This one. Super. So, moments of truth. Will it work? Okay, let's give it a go. I'm slightly nervous about this, to be fair. And we've got no power again. That has to be the caps in the power supply. I was a bit nervous to do too much with it. So yeah, plug challenge, 5 amp fuse on a 3 amp cable. Okay. Still nothing. Yeah, nothing at all. Okay, so we're going to have to take the power supply apart. Yeah, I will check it first to see if we've got anything at all causing issues mains-wise. But I very much doubt it. It's probably going to be the two, what are they, 4.7, 10 volts bipolar capacitors. I think that's the value, which commonly leak and blow the 2 transistors in the primary side of the power supply, and they can sometimes just start going leaky and stop it from basically oscillating, cause problems. It's just really weird because it sort of is quite intermittent. Actually, notice the 12 volt power supply connector was a little bit awry, so I'm just going to try plugging this in again. Oh, and it's working. Okay, well, I will need to investigate that. There's obviously something not quite right there, and probably is that connector. So, fingers crossed, here we go. Okay. So obviously that tape is not going to be happy because I turned it upside down when I shouldn't have. So far so good. Yay! Working. Okay. Now let's see what the picture's like. So yeah, Brit Awards. although that's an advert. So yes, so that's working really well. I just have to sort out, ultimately I just have to sort out now that power supply issue, whatever's going on there. But that's fine. And I am actually really pleased with that. You can see where the problem is, or why these break off, because that's right at the end of the rail. Now, I don't know how long this is going to last. You could say it's a bodge, it's a temporary repair, but I've done my very best to make that as strong as possible, so we can but try. I mean, one workaround is to, if that does break again and you can't rewind, is just to open it, because that actually pushes the little peg that keeps this down and makes it rewind fine, come onto a good bit of rail. But it does seem okay, so what more can I say? All good stuff. So we got there. Maybe not the best repair, and like I say, I need to investigate what's going on. It does seem weird if I wiggle that 12 volt connector at the back there, it seems to work. But yeah, Hungry Joe is good to go. So with that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Bye for now.